My presentation this evening is entitled Occult Mockery of Police and Military Personnel. And this is who I am speaking to. Okay, the audience will get much from understanding this knowledge, but I am directing this to the police and the military of every country on this planet. George Orwell, author of the book 1984, said, "If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear." So this information may be a bit unpleasant, but I would hope that most will not go into this modality, which I call emotional mind control. And this is responding to information which makes one feel unpleasant by rejecting the veracity of that information. And that is a very, very powerful form of mind control. Because something may make you feel bad does not mean that it is untrue. Kierkegaard said there are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to accept what is true. There is such a thing as truth. It exists. We can come to know it. And these are the only two reasons that humanity suffers, that we undergo self-inflicted suffering, is because we either believe that which is not true or we refuse to accept that which is. This information is occult. It has been occulted from the view of most people. Occult, as Jan Irvin said earlier, comes from the Latin verb occultare, meaning to hide, to conceal, or to keep secret. It is simply hidden information. Hidden knowledge is what ultimately keeps this planet under control, under mind control. And it works through two basic methodologies. The first is hierarchy, or a chain of command. The second is compartmentalization, meaning each area being kept distinct from the other, and the other area not knowing what the other one is actually doing, so you don't see the interlocking pieces of the agenda. Occultists are the rulers of this planet, plain and simple. And they are dark occultists. And I have first-hand experience, so I'm qualified to speak on this topic because I was directly involved in the dark occult. I was a priest in the organization known as the Church of Satan for years. And admittedly, this is the Boy Scouts of the satanic hierarchy, at best. At best. It is a psychological profiling system in order to take people up who display psychopathic tendencies for grooming into higher areas of the dark occult. Anton LaVey himself appointed me priest on March 19th. Okay, a very significant occult date. This is a letter from his wife, Blanche Barton, and you'll notice that it says Mark Rokar. That is indeed me. There is my home address on the letter. That is a demon name which I took as part of my dark occult initiation. It is a cat demon from the Gnostic book, the Pistis Sophia. Okay? I took it because I am born under the sign of Leo. Blanche Barton said, "Dear Mr. Rokar, Dr. LaVey has been favorably impressed with the skill and mastery you have shown in various opportunities to represent the Church of Satan and Satanism in general. You have proven yourself to be magically and materially adept. Therefore, he felt it was high time you were granted the title of priest in recognition of your dedication, knowledge, and ability. May the fires of hell continue to strengthen and inspire you. Hail Satan, Blanche Barton." Hidden knowledge controls the world, and that is what the dark occult are using against us as a weapon. What is this hidden knowledge? Ultimately, it is knowledge about nothing else at the deepest core fundamental level but the knowledge of who we are. Our consciousness and how it works. And these are the three modalities of consciousness. It has been called mind, body, spirit. But it is indeed our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions. That is the true Holy Trinity of consciousness. And it is all about us. That is the knowledge that they have occulted from sight. It is also the knowledge of how there are physiological expressions for these three modalities of consciousness, particularly in the brain. We have three complexes in the human brain. The first is the reptile complex, the R complex. This is responsible basically for controlling our instincts, our basic survival mechanisms, and motor skills. It is also called the brain stem, and this is the lowest consciousness part of the brain. We have a midbrain, which helps us to experience emotion, and that is known as the limbic brain, or simply the mammalian brain. And then we have a higher brain, a human brain, the human neocortex, which is ultimately responsible for higher order thought functions when it is operating in a state of balance. If it is not, we revert into either emotional mind control through the limbic system or into male dominator behavior through the R complex. This part of the brain, the neocortex, the higher brain, the human brain, needs to be balanced. That is ultimately what should be our ultimate goal in life, is to bring those two hemispheres, the masculine solar left brain hemisphere and the feminine lunar right brain hemisphere, into a state of harmony and balance, so that it opens the third eye, the human pineal gland, and it balances the brain. And I've displayed the symbols of the chalice and the jade coming together to form the blazing star, or the all-seeing eye, to represent that concept. This is what happens when the human brain is in a state of balance. On the left, a holistically balanced brain. When it is in a state of imbalance, the neocortex shows a pattern like that, and that is electrical deadness of the brain. Generally, that form of electrical deadness, of synaptic damage from chronic left brain hemispherical imbalance, is caused by high levels of adrenaline pumping through the central nervous system. Well, when we think about high levels of adrenaline, that brings us to these two groups of people. There is a lot of physical brain damage that has taken place. Make no mistake about it. And I'm going to talk about how the dark occultists who own these people, own them, feel about them, or as you will see, don't feel anything at all about them. As a matter of fact, they are the most mocked individuals on the planet. If you think that they have contempt for the general sleeping public, you haven't seen anything. They call the general public, dark occultists, they have two terms for people that I've only ever really heard them use. They call the general sleeping public the dead. The dead is what they refer to the public. Because their rationale for this is, if you do not have activated thoughts, activated emotions, and activated actions, therefore you are completely unconscious and therefore not truly alive. And therefore, we may treat you however we wish to treat you. If you think that's bad on how to think about someone, another living being, wait till you hear what they call these individuals. They call these individuals, and from first-hand experience, from their lips to my ears, they call these people our dogs. That is their name for the military and police. Our dogs. I have also sometimes heard them referred to simply as our pets. This is what they actually think of these people, as human pets. Human pets is how the dark occultists view the military and the police. And that Can make you as uncomfortable as it gets, but that is the case. That is the truth. In this presentation, we're going to look at occult symbolism, but it's not going to be as overt as this. Now, this is a U.S. naval base at Coronado Island, San Diego, clearly showing the symbolism of Nazism. And this is the reversed swastika as seen from above. The SS, the symbol of the Schutzstaffel. Okay? We're going to look at symbolism that's a little bit more veiled than that and harder to see unless you're initiated into the occult, particularly the dark occult. The pentagram, okay? It represents the 5 elements: earth, air, water, fire, and spirit, with the 5th point, the 5th element, spirit, raised to the most significant position, meaning that it needs to be in ultimately superiorship above all of the other elements of nature. That is the cosmic source from which we all come. And you can see it has Stargate symbolism there on it, which we're going to talk about. The ancients would often depict the pentagram with a man or a woman with its head at the top representing spirit, and then its extremities at the other 4 points representing the other elements. And this is a pentagram in its proper aspect and in balance, representing a person who understands their divine nature. This is the satanic pentagram, and this is the official sigil of the Church of Satan. It is an inverted pentagram, and I'll not use my own words to describe it. I'll use the high priest of the Church of Satan's words. This is from Anton LaVey, founder and high priest of the Church of Satan, from the Satanic Bible. The Baphomet, which is what that emblem is known as, represents the powers of darkness combined with the generative fertility of the goat. In its pure form, the pentagram is shown encompassing the figure of a man in the 5 points of the star, 3 points up, 2 pointing down, symbolizing man's spiritual nature. They're telling you right there, they understand we have a spiritual nature. They know this. They know this, okay, but they propagate the exact opposite of it. In Satanism, the pentagram is also used, but since Satanism represents the carnal instincts of man, or the opposite of spiritual nature, the pentagram is inverted to perfectly accommodate the head of the goat. Its horns, representing duality, thrust upwards in defiance. The other 3 points inverted, or the Trinity denied. And that Trinity is not the Christian Trinity as it is commonly known, but it is indeed our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions, which the dark occultists seek to suppress at all times. 3 of them, to keep in a state of deadness. Now, let's look at where the pentagram is used in military and police symbolism. The first and most obvious is the U.S. Army, which its sigil, its emblem, is simply a giant star pointing upward. The star pointing upward, in its proper aspect, represents sovereignty, self-ownership, as Larkin Rose so eloquently explained. This is being your own master, you're controlling your own destiny in life, not taking orders from other people, not having anyone else lead your mind or your actions or your behavior. And you're not going to get that in this institution. You're going to get the exact opposite of that. But they're putting that symbol there as the symbol of that institution to convey the concept of sovereignty in proxy. This is how symbolism works. Because that symbol goes to the subconscious, and the subconscious already knows the meaning of the upright pentagram. There it is on the third eye, which we're going to see repeated over and over again, of good old Uncle Sam. Here it is, upright in a 5-star general's emblem. The U.S. Air Force, I threw this one in here, it's pretty unique. This is their emblem. This was in Freeman's presentation times. Now, on first look, you might not see it, but I'll highlight. There's the star, okay, upright again. But if you color the different components differently, I think you can see a different shape comes out. And that is indeed the face of a demon. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's an angry, scowling demon with, its eyes slanted downward. And indeed, That is what the Air Force basically acts like. They swoop in from above. That's similar to the face of an owl as well, a scowling owl, which is also another dark occult symbol. Here's the inverted pentagram on the Victoria Police's logo. Now, whose right are they upholding? The people of Victoria, or are they upholding the British Crown? Well, I think you can tell because the British Crown is in the superior position. And that is who they're serving, not the people. There you see on the inside 5 stars again, all pointing up, representing sovereignty, of which this organization has nothing whatever to do with. Here's one of the most satanic emblems on the face of the earth, the military medal of valor, which people would hold in a complete different light unless they understand the esoteric dark occult symbolism that it contains. We'll get into more of it later, but I just wanted to point out clearly there an inverted pentagram with the goddess symbolism there in the middle of it. The goddess in different ancient traditions represented our emotional aspect, the sacred feminine, which Laura Eisenhower so eloquently went into yesterday. And that is put right into the middle, into the heart of the inverted pentagram. And we'll see there's even more covert symbolism later. The inverted pentagram can be found geomantically, okay, put into the Washington, D.C. street system. This is called a Faustian pentagram with one broken arm. I won't get too deep into that, but this building right here is the White House, and that's the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and an inverted pentagram points directly at the White House in the Washington, D.C. street system. The Pentagon, the place where war is waged from in this nation, imperialism, okay, is the very hub or the heart of the 5-pointed inverted pentagram. Here it is on the FOP's logo, a Masonically connected institution. And I make the distinction. There is such a thing as true, esoteric, positive, light Freemasonry versus what has become a completely infiltrated institution, dark Masonry. And the lodge system is in a state of disarray. And I know there are some Masons right in this room. And I'm doing this on my podcast right now. The shows I've been doing are all about Freemasonry recently, and you can see the distinction that I'm making between true Freemasonry and dark occultic Masonry, and there's a world of difference between the two. Here we see the inverted pentagram again on the third eye chakra, put right on the forehead of the person who's being mocked occultically by putting it there. They're telling them they're in a state of total denial of their own spiritual nature. And they're putting that emblem right there, and they can't see it. The all-seeing eye is the next symbol that needs to be understood. This is a commonly misconstrued symbol. What it ultimately represents is the balanced brain hemispheres combined with the heart. So it's the heart-mind come to full expression. And this is a symbol that is co-opted and perverted and come to be used or identified with the dark occultists. However, that is not what it really represents. What it really represents is light. It represents balance. It represents the light of the Creator, the true Creator. Okay? It represents thought, emotion, and action in unity, non-dual consciousness. Now watch the eye there, up there. Ultimately, that's what it represents. There it is, the human pineal gland in the center of the head, awakened. It is open. It is our one eye, the spiritual vision that only activates and comes online when we become awakened. The dark occult wants to put that light out from the world to build their new world order. This is the world they want to build. They want to finish that pyramid of stone, of block, of bricks, which block us from our true nature. They want to build the world of darkness with no light in it, where they rule from the shadows. And they have all the light in a state of disconnection with everyone else. So this is a dual symbol, and it needs to be understood as such. We need to bring that light to fuller manifestation in the world, to get rid of all the blocks and to bring that light down so that it joins up with the earth and we can complete the one true great work of truth, love, and freedom. So that is the all-seeing eye. Let's see some examples of it. The first place, obviously, where that sigil comes from is from the $1 bill. Again, identifying it with unity consciousness. The word money is right before our face every day. Billions of people say this word, and they never have actually simply split it in two. The one I. Mono and I. And they're identifying it with the true one I, and they're giving it to us again in proxy. And we'll look at how the color green is used in connection with money. Okay? This is the most powerful force driving mind control. This is the ultimate form of mind control. This is what people do dark occultist bidding for. It is the most powerful religion of this world. I have often called it the one and only religion. No matter what religion somebody is, they believe in this. It is the most powerful God of this world. It has taken the place of the true God of creation. Just like in They Live, the hero looks at money without his sunglasses where he can see in an awakened state, and he just sees a $1 bill. But put on the glasses, what does it say? This is your God. Let's look at the frequency aspect of this whole system of control through symbolism, which we'll see come up over and over again. They color money green here because they want to attach it to several ideas. The first is balance. Green is the middle of the visible spectrum of light. It is the color of in the frequency range that the human eyes can perceive. Therefore, it comes into the middle of our vision. And that's a theme that's going to come up over and over again. We see that the rainbow energy wheels, known as the chakras, okay, go in frequencies from red and then up through the violet to the crown chakra, from low to high frequencies. The heart chakra is right in the middle. So that is the center of self, the heart, okay? And it's colored green. And interestingly, the Anahata chakra is a six-pointed seal of Solomon, the blazing star, which we've already seen. There it is. Green is the color of nature. Nature provides this color in the greatest abundance because this planet is attempting to love us. And we return it for money and for the jobs that we feel that we must do with rape. That's what we return the planet's love with in general. But green is the center of nature, in addition to being the center of self. It is also, as we've already seen, the center of consciousness, the balancing of the blue frequencies of the right brain with the red of the left brain, which is why I colored those that way. This is why they use the color green for money, to represent balance, to represent enlightenment, to represent love, to represent nature. And it's none of these things and never will be, because it's a figment of your imagination. It does not exist in nature, just like government does not exist in nature.